Are you a lifelong fan of General Hospital?
Are you a new fan who wants to know more about the history of the show?
Do you enjoy talking about the show with others?
Do you find yourself yelling at the TV?
Is your self-care an hour a day in Port Charles?
If so, we invite you to join hosts
Amanda Kimmel
and Shannon Coach at the place where all the hidden conversations take place and secrets are revealed.
Meet us at Pier 54,
A General Hospital fan podcast.
Hi!
Hi!
Welcome to the Port Charles 411. Today we're talking with Amanda Baker, who played Jolene on Night Shift.
It makes me want to go and watch the second season again. I know she's not on it, but talking about all of the happenings on the first season, when I want to go do the second one now, especially because Jagger's on it. We just talked about Karen and Jagger. Yum.
Yep. And if you haven't watched Night Shift, it's actually what we watched while General Hospital was out of episodes.
Yes.
So you can go back to our summer episodes and listen to our weekly recap, which was the different seasons, or the different discs of Night Shift season 1.
Right.
And so that's where Jolene was, and she was fun.
I was glad that she was as shocked by the turn that her character took as we were.
Yes.
That was cute to hear her say, yeah, it wasn't the girl next door, yeah?
We really shouldn't give away everything that the upcoming interview is about.
I'm not giving away everything.
Okay. But it was fun. It was
It was.
fun to learn about her journey and what she's been doing since General Hospital and what she has coming up in the works. So we hope you enjoy learning more about Amanda.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Can you hear us and see us okay and everything?
Yes, I can. I'm gonna straighten myself up a little bit.
Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Shannon. I'm Amanda.
Oh, well, easy to remember for sure. Thanks
So are
for
you and your
having
daughter?
me.
Oh, of course. Are you and your daughter feeling better? I know you weren't.
Yes. Oh, yes. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, just one of those like crazy, like, just congestion and, just the whole works and, she's almost 2. So, and she's teething too. So it's just like, it gets amplified, like one thing on top of the other.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So thank you for understanding. We're definitely feeling better. I appreciate it.
Good. No problem. I have 2 kids. Amanda has 4. Been there.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. Yeah. It's like, yeah, and then I've got a son. Fortunately, he stayed well through the whole thing, but he was having to do virtual learning, because somebody at his school possibly was in contact with somebody with COVID. So it was just like 8,000 things like happening. So, yeah, so it's, how it is, just crazy times right now.
How old's your son?
He's 6. So he's in first grade. Yeah.
Well,
so
how's he handling that?
I was nervous at first in the beginning of the year because I wasn't sure if he was not necessarily about COVID per se, like him contracting it, because I'm nervous about that, but also just with him with the mask, not knowing if he was going to be messing with it and like it was going to be a big issue. But I think kids are pretty resilient. So he really hasn't had an issue with it. I think he's pretty used to it now. So he has to remind me in the mornings, like, Mom, where's my mask? Because I'll just walk right out the door and I'm like, so he reminds me, but yeah, he's doing good. Aside from just the never knowing, like day to day, it's like, are we going to get a notice that he has to be home today because of, somebody possibly being exposed? But other than that, like he's the type of kid that enjoys being at school and just loves everything, just being there with the teacher and the other students. So as long as they're open, that is where he will be.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's doing well. He's doing good.
And where do you live?
I'm in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah. I was there up until the day it got declared a pandemic. I was down there. I was in Nashville from March 6th to the 11th. On our way home is when we just slowly started watching everything shut down. We're like, what are we going home to?
That was basically when we got the notice that, school was closed and they never went back like the rest of the year. So it was crazy. Yeah, we're here in Nashville and where we are right now is not super strict. I mean, pretty much things have opened back up and we're just kind of taking it, just day by day, week by week, just to see, how it goes. But yeah, it's, I wouldn't say it's back to normal, but it's definitely, opened up more in a sense. So
when you guys had just had those huge tornadoes right before
Yes.
all this too. I actually just totally forgot about that until
Yep. Yeah, that we had, and my poor friend Erica, who actually I met in New York City when I was there, she moved to Nashville not too long before that. And so I was like, I'm so sorry you moved to Nashville and you get tornadoes and then a pandemic and it's like all these things happening like at once. So I have not seen her since, oh gosh, was it March or April maybe? Yeah, it's been since then. And I keep inviting her over, but she, it's like everybody's just being wary of it. And so, you have to respect everybody's kind of where they're at. So, so my son keeps asking like, when's Aunt Erica? He calls her Aunt Erica. When's she coming over? I miss her. I'm like, don't worry, buddy, it'll be soon. So yeah, it's just crazy. It's just crazy.
Well, it's nice to hear that, you at least eventually will have her
Yes.
nearby and able to see
Definitely.
her very quickly.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Yeah. But so we just like to get to know the actors, actresses a little bit more. Actually, during the whole shutdown, when they actually stopped having new episodes of General Hospital, was the first time we watched Night Shift.
Oh, wow.
Because Night Shift was on SoapNet.
Yeah.
And I didn't have SoapNet when it was on because it was a paid channel. So,
oh, yes, that's right.
So thank you, YouTube. We were able to watch all of Night Shift.
Great.
The first season. Yep.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's been a while since I've gone back and watched any of it. So I just did Steve and Bradford's podcast the other day. So we reminisced about some stuff, which brought my memory back to all of our memories back to, like some things, so yeah, it was fun times for sure.
So how did you wind up on the show?
Well, backing up, after I started in the Southeast, acting in the Southeast. I'm from South Carolina, and I, just did kind of some smaller projects there, things that were happening in Wilmington and whatnot. And once I kind of got enough on my resume, I decided that it'd be a good idea to, I moved to New Orleans for about 6 months. And my agent had formed some relationships with some casting directors there. And so I moved to New Orleans for about 6 months. At that point, I realized, okay, if I'm going to actually pursue this as a career, I need to actually either go to LA or New York or somewhere, a bigger market. And I think for me, it probably worked out best for it to kind of happen slowly like that, because if I had just moved out to LA right away without really having anything under my belt and really knowing anybody as far as representation and stuff, I think I probably would have gotten scared and turn around and come right back home, just because I was such like a homebody and just, I never pictured myself moving to a big city to pursue acting. So it kind of happened slowly for me, which was, I think, beneficial. So I got out to LA. It was January of 2006. And it was just that very next year, I actually took a casting director, or I took a workshop with Mark Teschner, who's the casting director for General Hospital. It was in that workshop that I just got to really get to know him and show off what I was able to do as far as my acting skills. And so he started bringing me in for auditions. And so whenever people ask me, what's your advice as far as, how to get started and stuff, I'm always a big proponent of, if you can take an acting director workshop or something like that where you can get in front of someone, that's a lot of times how they get to see people, act and see their abilities. So anyway, he started bringing me in for auditions. So I believe it was probably my third audition I had with him. It was for it was General Hospital Night Shift. And I'm like, what's this? I know General Hospital, but I don't know what this night shift is. Come to find out, it was this new thing they were doing where they were going to do like they were going to shoot it like a series, a 13 episode series, but they were going to air it on SoapNet. And so, yeah, so I just remember going in, I think I had 3 or 4 auditions for that, just waiting. I think I waited a week to hear back, and when I finally got the phone call, it was like, oh my gosh, like it was just one of those phone calls. It's like, okay, this is everything. I mean, I was super, super excited. So yeah, that was kind of the background into how it all started.
That's awesome. And I like that tip that because I'm a big fan of education and,
Yeah.
always be learning, always taking some kind of
Oh yeah.
something nerdy,
Yes. Yeah. There's so many things. Well, I should say, I don't know about now, but I mean, there's so many, classes and workshops and things out there that not only can get you exposed to people, but also just keep you sharp, and just keep you learning because it's a never ending process, so yeah, so I'm always a big proponent of that. And Mark does such an amazing job in his workshops because he's been doing it for so long. It's just whether you get cast on the show or not, it's beneficial to take either way. So yeah.
So did you know what role you were auditioning for, or was it just?
Well, the first couple auditions I went in for, they gave me her name. They told me she was a nurse. Her name was Jolene. And the part of the script that they gave me was very general, it's like just I had no idea what Jolene was all about really. But it wasn't until the final audition I went in and I read through it like I had been doing the last two, and they said, okay, now we want you to read it like you're a murderer. And I was like, oh, okay. So that was my first inclination that something wasn't right with her. Although it was the same lines I'd been doing the entire time. I had to really flip everything that I had done in the last couple auditions and read it like she was an evil person. So I was like, not necessarily evil, but that there was something going on, So I was like, what does this mean? I walked out of there and I'm thinking, and that's all they said, so I had no idea what was to come. But when I got cast in the role, I was very interested to see what was going to be happening with this character, Jolene, because she wasn't the girl next door that we all thought she was going to be.
No, because I don't know about you. At the beginning, you kind of had a feeling, and then you're like, oh no, that couldn't be. And then, yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
You did a great job.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. We didn't get all the scripts ahead of time. So, week by week, as we would get the scripts, I'd be reading it going, oh, this is terrible, but it was a lot of fun because I'd never really played a character like that before. So it was fun to kind of, delve into that side and just really, see just how bad she could be. So yeah, it was fun. We had a really good time.
Shame it didn't last as long because then you wound up not even being in the second season.
I wasn't in the second season because I got cast on All My Children, and I actually got cast on the show while we were still filming the last couple episodes of Night Shift. And they weren't sure exactly what direction they were going to go in with the second season and what they were going to do to try to keep it fresh, kind of, because it was such a new thing they were doing. So yeah, so I wasn't able to be on the second season, but yeah, I had moved on to another project. But yeah, so I haven't had a chance to actually even watch the second season, which is so bad to say, but but
So
yeah.
we've only watched the first season though, because that's all that COVID allowed us to and then they came back. And so we haven't watched it. But then when we were talking about talking to you, we both said, okay, we have to watch the second season because we need to know. And what the first two episodes,
she's not even in it, so we're not even gonna.
Exactly.
So we're right there with you. Don't worry.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, I think, they were trying to go in a different direction in the sense of getting some newer actors on and just a different kind of storyline, just things like that. So it was cool that they actually decided to do something like that because they've never, a soap had really never done anything like that before. It was really cool to see that they were actually they were able to do it for 2 seasons, which is a lot more than I think a lot of people expected.
Had you watched General Hospital before that?
I had watched some, but I grew up watching, my grandmother watched Days of Our Lives and my mom watched Young and the Restless and Bold and Beautiful. So all the soaps I were on, I didn't watch growing up. So I had to kind of get a refresher. Of course, I knew a lot of the major characters,
Right.
And had kind of gotten bits and pieces and stuff like that, like throughout the years. So I wasn't completely unaware of what was going on, but I definitely did some research and, kind of read up on things that were happening, and especially with the characters I was kind of going to be interacting with and stuff like that. So, but the good part about it was that Night Shift was sort of like this side thing happening. So there were completely different storylines. They were just kind of a side step as to what was going on at the hospital. So it was nice in the sense that we didn't have to be super intertwined with what was going on during the day stuff. So yeah, but I definitely wanted to make sure that I kind of knew, about, Bradford's character and, Steve's character, and just I knew the people that I was going to be really interacting with. So yeah, I definitely had to do my research on that.
Because you were Spinelli's first love.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yes.
And I'm like, ish. But then you wound up in a coma.
Yeah.
I think you need to come back and have a child. Like that you had been pregnant during the coma, and now Spinelli has another kid. Because like I really thought about that. I was like, okay, she wasn't in the second season. We have an opening.
Right.
And that's
yeah, we talked about that the other day on the podcast about, we were like, whatever happened to Jolene? And I'm like, well, as far as I know, she was in a coma, and we're not really sure where she went, Yep. So I guess the possibility is always there for Jolene to make an appearance or come back. But yeah, that's actually a really good idea. Yeah.
There's a lot of black holes in storylines that they're going on, and then they just go to the side and never find out
they
anymore.
kind of take a left, and you just you never quite know sort of if they're going to get picked back up again, or if they're just going to die off or what. But that's the beauty of soaps, I guess, because you can have somebody dead for 20 years and all of a sudden they weren't really dead after all. They are alive. They just had to go off and do their own thing for a while, So yeah.
So you did All My Children for how long?
I was there for a couple years. When I got cast on the show, I was actually replacing a character. I was replacing Alexa Havens, who had originally, come up with she was originally cast as the role of Babe Chandler, and she was leaving the show. She decided to leave the show, so they decided to recast the character. So I went on and I kept the role going, and then a tornado swept through Pine Valley, and we had some casualties, and Babe was one of the casualties in that unfortunate event. So yes, she perished, or I think she perished. Maybe she came. Maybe I came back as a ghost a couple times, and then I think when they were ending the show, they brought Alexa back since she originated the role, and I don't think she died. It was one of those things where I'm saying, like, soaps, like you think they died, but she got shipped off somewhere and then kind of came back. So yeah. But yeah, I was there for a couple. I was there.
Fun, the stuff that we can say just because of soap operas. A tornado came through. She may or may not die. We're not sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's always fun. Like I said, getting those scripts and just not knowing what's going to be, in that episode. You're like, all right, we're gonna go for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what have you done since?
After I got done with All My Children, I was in New York for a short time after that. Then I moved back to Los Angeles and just kind of started doing some guest stars on TV shows, commercials, things like that. And then I met my husband, and we got married, and kind of through that process, I was still doing some acting. But then when I got pregnant with my son, I kind of at that point in my life, I kind of just I needed some normalcy in the sense of like a regular schedule and kind of knowing like what was going to happen next, like day to day. So I took a little break after I had my son, and, did little things here and there in between, but nothing, I didn't really pursue it as strongly as I'd been in the past. And then about 3.5 years ago, we moved here to Nashville. I was kind of back in the Southeast where it all started for me, and I still had my Southeastern agent, and I kind of just started auditioning again and kind of slowly getting my feet wet. And then I got pregnant with my daughter. And so put things on hold with that for a while, but Anyway, now she's almost 2, but over the last probably, I'd say, I guess year, I've started my career back up again. So just, mainly doing stuff in Atlanta. Just did a Hallmark movie that's airing actually in a couple days. And then I have a recurring role on a TV show called Black Lightning, which is airing on the CW.
Okay.
And yeah, just starting to do some projects. And actually, the beginning of the month, I'm going to be flying to Virginia, and I'm going to be doing a short film with my past husband that I worked with on All My Children, Jacob Young.
Oh,
Yeah, he's going to be, we're doing a movie together, and we've stayed in touch over the years. And so I'll get to reconnect with him and do this film. It's actually about an astronaut. His name was John Bull, and I'm playing his wife in the movie. So we get to, reconnect again. So it'll be fun to do that.
oh, that's really cool. He was on General Hospital too.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he's kind of floated around, General Hospital, All My Children, Bold and Beautiful. So, so it should be a lot of fun. I'm excited about it. But he was the one that kind of he let me know about the project, and kind of went through the process of everything, and finally decided that was, I was gonna hop on board. So yeah, it'll be good.
Does your son know that you're an actress? Has he seen you on TV?
Yes, he does. And he tells his teachers at school that, oh, mom had to go film for Black Lightning. And they're like, oh, okay. Or like, he'll say random things like that. So when I pick him up from school or drop him off or whatever, they're really sweet. They'll say things like, so when is the Hallmark movie airing? Things like that. But yeah, he's seen me on, we've showed him a few things, not everything. We've showed him a few things, and he's kind of at the age where he's interested. He's 6, but I feel like he'll probably get to an age little later on where he's just like, whatever. Right now he's like, wait, Mom, you're on TV. You're just playing that part. You're just being an actor there. Because there was this one movie I did where it was actually called Pandemic, kind of like 20 times worse than what's happening here. And so I played this woman that had been infected with this virus. And anyway, the scene is very, it's a little gory, but he watched it. It wasn't really bad, like frightening, but he watched it and he's like, yeah, that's not real. That's you playing a part. And I'm like, yes, buddy, it's not real. So I've had the chance to kind of explain to him, sort of how it works and going to set. And he's actually come with me a couple times too for when I filmed. So he gets to kind of understand sort of what goes into it. So that's really cool.
Not sure if you want him seeing Night Shift. It's like, Mommy's a murderer.
Oh, exactly. No, he hasn't seen that. No,
I wouldn't
he's really seen Mommy on any of the soap stuff. It's just been other things.
Mommy, why are you kissing that guy? That's not Daddy.
Exactly. Yes. Like, I'm confused.
Yeah.
So none of that, but stuff that, he can kind of, his 6-year-old brain can comprehend,
Right. No, that's cute. I have a 7-year-old and she's not impressed by the podcast, but we had done an interview on YouTube the other day and she was like, oh, you're on YouTube. Like now I'm famous because I was on YouTube. But anything else.
YouTube is huge, right? And
right.
My son comes to me the other day. He's like, Mom, I want my own YouTube channel so I can record myself and, I can say like and subscribe. And I'm like, oh, really? Okay. We'll have to talk about that,
Yep.
So yeah, YouTube is like everything. It's huge. So yeah.
Is that all that he wants his channel to be? So is there a topic or anything, or just because he wants to be able to say, please like and subscribe?
Well, he wants to do certain things like filming him doing, playing with toys, like that whole Ryan's World thing.
Yeah.
Like filming him running around the backyard and doing tricks and stuff, stuff like that. So he wants all of that, and please like and subscribe.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the whole pack.
So cute.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's his main goal right now.
Shannon's kids are older, so they're not into all of that. So.
Right.
It's not like that. No.
It is. It's a whole thing. You have to like and subscribe and blah, blah, blah. There's like a whole bit to it.
The whole there's a whole bit to it. So, and he's just, he's got his favorite shows he watches and all of that. So he comes to me one day. I'm like, oh, we're there, we made it. Okay.
That's cute.
I don't even want to think about what's going to be around when he's a teenager, though.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I'm frightened. I'm terrified. It's just, I'm sure that there's a lot of good stuff, but there's also stuff that's like, it just scares the crap out of you. It's like you just never know what's ahead, and what you can't control. There's things that you can't control, but then there's other things that you can't. So yeah, it's and then with my daughter, who's only 2 or almost 2, she's yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
Hopefully she's not doing it yet,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, that could be part of his show, though. He could show how to be a good big brother. There you go.
Yes, and he's been really sweet. He's been so good with her. So I think that would be something he probably wouldn't want to, but maybe if I suggested it and like doing something fun, he might be on board with it. Have to kind of be a little sly about it.
So do you like doing like the movies more, or do you like doing soap operas?
I would say TV in general is probably more my speed, because with TV, you're at a set location, pretty much kind of like you're going to be working between Monday and Friday, like certain set hours. And, I think with, don't get me wrong, movie sets are awesome, and everybody, because you're constantly with everybody for, a few months at a time. It's always a special experience for sure. But I think with where I am at in my life now, versus, 10, 12, 15 years ago, I think TV, like episodic TV or soaps, it's kind of, kind of what to expect with the day-to-day stuff. So, yeah.
Probably easier to have a family. And
it is, I think so, for sure. And the actors that are out there that are able to have movie careers and things like that, and travel and do that with families, like I have so much respect for them, because it's a lot, and there's a lot that goes into it with the logistics and everything. So and a lot of people, especially if they have spouses that are in the business too, like they trade off, so they're never really apart from the kids. So yeah, but it's just with me having to go down to Atlanta and film with Black Lightning, like my husband and I have to figure everything out, because he works. And so it's like you just, there's all these moving pieces. So but it's nice though. It's nice to be able to kind of come full circle for me. I feel like being back in the Southeast and just seeing how much it's grown and kind of getting back into that side of it it's been really cool. I knew that I wasn't done acting, but when I took the break, I was like, I just kind of need this for now. And I knew that my plan was to start it back up again when I felt like I was ready. So yeah. And the thing about acting, I think that's really great is that it's, there's all sorts of ages needed. And, you look on TV now and there's so many different platforms. You've got your online platforms and you've got like, it's crazy like how many options there are. So it's nice that now I'm being like a mom age that, the parts are still there and there's still stuff going on. So it's definitely hopeful, where you're not like, oh, it's all over. Like it's done. I can't do it, So that's cool that there's still so much available.
So your husband doesn't work in the industry then?
He used to. And actually from time to time, he kind of still does a few things here and there. He works for a commercial contracting company, but he's still involved with he's still involved with our Southeastern agency. And he got cast not too long ago as the Lowe's for Pros guy. So he had to go to North Carolina and shoot a bunch of videos on like different tools and, like all sorts of stuff. So he still does things here and there that kind of pertain to what he's doing. So yeah, so it's fun because we got to see him online, the Lowe's stuff, and he was doing things he actually knew what he was doing, and was familiar with. So
That's
so,
awesome.
yeah, but no, his day-to-day like weekly thing is not in the industry. So yeah, but he used to. That's why he moved out to LA and we met out there. I never thought I'd meet anybody in Los Angeles, but yeah, that's how it goes.
Now, how did you get into acting originally? You
When
were up doing.
I was growing up in school, I was pretty shy, But it wasn't until I was in high school that my high school choir teacher, she really helped me kind of come out of my shell. And it was like a performing group, so it was like, you know, you would do like Broadway stuff, so you couldn't be shy. I mean, it was one of those things where you had to get out there and like sing and dance and act and do everything, you know. And so I think it was at that point that I realized that that was something that I wanted to try to pursue in some way. Of course, my realist side, not my dreamer side, my realist side was like, no, but you have to go to college and you have to get a degree in something like normal. So I ended up going off to college. I got a business degree of all things. But I knew that's not where my passion was. Like, I knew the whole time I was studying it, like, I'm thinking, okay, I'm just doing this as a backup, but I would like to still be able to try to do something creative, you know? And so after I graduated, I got involved with a local agency in Charleston, where I'm from. And it was just small things, like little things here and there, just local commercials and, you know, things like that, that kind of where it started. And then from there, it kind of just started to build. And like I said, Wilmington at the time had, you know, One Tree Hill and a couple of other shows. So I did what was available there. And then when I kind of felt like I was maxed out on that area, that's when I went to New Orleans. And New Orleans, and still is very, very big today. They were shooting a lot of TV shows and, you know, TV movies of the week and things like that. So when I was there for that 6 months, I did 3 or 4 projects while I was there. So yeah, that's kind of how it all started. But like I said a while ago, it was slow for me. It was like a slow build. So when I got out to LA, it's like, you know, it's just like this big world of like, where do I even begin? You know, like who do I go to? You know, so I'd made some connections before that and got to know some people. So when I got out there, I just called them up and I was like, I'm here. Like, you know, can I come in for a meeting? And I wanted to try to get representation. So that was kind of the build up there. But the manager that I ended up going with when I first moved to LA, like he's still technically my manager. I mean, as far as LA goes, even though I don't live there. I just talked to him yesterday on the phone, which is crazy. And he just sent me an email a couple days ago about a project that's actually just going to be going over Zoom. That's kind of where it's all moving to. Wow. People like this pandemic, like they're wanting to shoot movies over Zoom, which is nuts, you know? So so I talked to him yesterday. So he's still my manager after all these years, like I think 15 years now. And so yeah, it's just crazy to just see, like, you know, how it's all transforming, you know, this world of TV and film and stuff.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see how they change to Zoom, because I was thinking about that earlier when you said you kind of like got back into your career this year. And I'm like, of all the years, I mean, you've been successful, you know, it sounds like you've had a lot of things happening.
It's crazy, because I thought, am I insane? I mean, this is like, you know, a lot of the shows that have started back up again, they have really strict COVID guidelines. So they test like 3 and 4 times a week, and they literally have stations set up like on set, like on site, where you have to go and, you know, get swabbed and do everything. So, you know, they've found a way to make it happen. And then on the other side of that, people that are just wanting to kind of do new projects that are just solely like on the computer, like literally just, you know, everything happening in the house. So it's interesting to see how that's going to turn out, you know, and what will come of it. But I was really happy to hear about the show, because last season I was on the show that I'm on now, and just not knowing what was going to happen, you know, and if they were going to even film again. So it's really hopeful to see it, like, you know, that they're just, you know, they're making it happen. So yeah,
they're adapting, they're plugging along, they're getting creative.
Exactly. Yep. So I think people still are just wanting to, you know, and plus everybody's in their homes, or a lot of people are in their homes, and it's like they still want to watch TV. And
I was gonna say, I'm like, we can't keep binging. Like, we need new stuff to binge.
Right.
So.
Yeah, you know, and so it's just the thought of like, okay, how many reruns can we watch? Like, we want. So yeah, so I was just really excited to hear that they were starting up production again on a lot of different things. And so yeah, it's crazy though, like, just to think, like, starting my career back up, you know, right, I think it was October last year, And then in March, like the pandemic hits, and it's like, oh my gosh, like what's what's happening, you know? So yeah, it's going along right now. So I'll take it as long as it's happening.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the name of the Hallmark movie?
It's called A Nashville Christmas Carol. And there's some, country music stars in it. We've got, there's Winona Judd and Kix Brooks from Brooks and Dunn, and Kimberly Williams Paisley, who's married to Brad Paisley.
Aww.
And so, yes, there's going to be a lot of great singing in it. And it's kind of a take on the original Christmas Carol. But the character in the movie, the actress's name is Jessie Schramm, but she, in the movie, she kind of has to revisit her past. And so the country music stars play like the ghost of Christmas past and ghost of Christmas present and future.
Nice.
So, and then I play her mom in a flashback. And when she visits her past, I play her mom. So, yeah, it was fun though. They had fake snow going on in, September. So that was fun. Yeah. Everything was Christmassy, and, Hallmark is always like just kind of a warm and cozy like feeling. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so it was a lot of fun. I'm just hoping they bring more projects to Nashville because, we did have, the show Nashville that was here and it was successful for a long time. So, it's, I'm hopeful that they'll start to, bring some more stuff here into the city.
It's a beautiful city. It really is.
Yeah, it's grown. I mean, it's grown a lot. There's a lot of people coming in. But yeah, there's so much that you can do. And it's a really lively town. Not only do you have like downtown and the live music and all that, but you have beautiful hikes and good food. And there's there's a lot that you can do, especially if you're single or if you have a family. So it's a nice mix, which is good.
So do you sing? Because you had mentioned your choir director earlier.
I do sing. I haven't done anything country music related while I've been here, but I'm actually on the worship team at my church, and that was kind of a crazy fluke thing. I hadn't planned on it, but it just sort of happened. And so, and with the musicians that are all around here in Nashville, like you don't feel quite, you're like, oh, I don't think that I should be part of that, because you're an aspiring, not just an aspiring musician, you are a musician and a singer. So, but no, it's been a lot of fun just to kind of get back into that side of things. This whole new sort of creative stuff that's been going on in my life, the last like probably year and a half, it's been really, really awesome. And I realized how much I did miss that, once I kind of started that back up again. So yeah, that part of it is happening on the worship church side. But I've had people and friends that they go and perform and do stuff around Broadway and stuff. So maybe we'll see. Maybe that'll be something I jump into maybe, once a month or something, or, when time goes on. But that would be fun because I miss sort of singing. I sang in a band for a few years while I was trying to get my acting career going so I could pay the bills.
Okay.
So I toured around and just did, my band, we did the fraternity sorority circuit, just the crazy, when you're single, you just don't have any obligations really. So yeah, I think that probably bring back a lot of memories if I actually did something like that on Broadway, like flashbacks, like, oh God, So yeah, we'll see, but and so many amazing singers on Broadway. Like you go down Broadway and you walk in any of one of those bars and you're just like, oh my gosh, the talent is just crazy. So yeah, it's fun like just to have a date night down there, and just go and just listen to music and just have a nice fun night out. So yeah.
I hope Broadway reopens. Like you're talking about it and I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah, I know. And it's such a big part of Nashville, when you think about it. So I think they're slowly starting to do that. I think there's a lot of places that have started to open up and allow people to come in and stuff. I think they still might have like a certain capacity, limit, but yeah, it's not as crazy as it would be before pandemic, but it's still, they're slowly getting it back to normal, hopefully. So
is there anything else that you want to talk about?
That's pretty much everything that's going on right now. Yeah. I appreciate you guys having me, and, just that's currently what's going on in my world. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Loved your character, honestly.
Oh, thanks.
was-
She was a lot of fun to play. I enjoyed it. It was to say that's really the only time you can do something like that. I feel like,
Get a lot of aggression out through your character and just be
Oh
like,
yeah, 100%, 100%. I remember coming home. I lived with 3 other girls at the time when I was filming the show. I remember coming home and they'd be like, "So what'd you do today?" I'm like, "Well, I put some air on somebody's line and killed them in the hospital." So
Yeah.
But yeah. So it was it was a good character to get some aggression out.
We'll definitely have to check out that Hallmark movie. That sounds good. We're both country fans.
Yeah,
so
I think it's November 21st. The
Okay.
National
Oh,
Christmas Carol.
perfect.
Yeah. So it's coming up like in a couple days. So Hallmark, and it should be a fun one for sure. I think all Hallmark, any Hallmark movies, especially Christmas movies, are always just fun to kind of escape.
They're much needed right now.
Oh yeah. And I think they shot like 40 something Christmas movies this year. So
Wow.
there's a whole lineup going on. I think they've already started. So it's definitely needed. And just kind of take you away from anything for a while, when you watch it. Yeah.
This was so much fun. Thank you so much for your time, and glad we were able to coordinate schedules. And
Yes, thank you again. I so
course.
appreciate it. And you guys take care and have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
you too.
Yes. You
And
too.
it's coming up
Good
actually.
rest of the holiday and years, and hopefully
Yeah.
we'll see you soon.
All right, sounds good.
Great.
Thanks. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Amanda.
Okay, bye.
She is so sweet.
She was so sweet.
So you heard her mention that she's in a Hallmark movie, and we actually recorded this on November 19th, so we're releasing it after the 21st. So it's probably already out there. Well, it should already be out there.
Right, she said the 21st. So
Yeah, so definitely check out the Nashville Christmas Carol. I'm excited for it. That sounds great.
Yes.
Well, I was hoping that she was going to say, yeah, I sing with all of them. And I'd be like, that's awesome.
I totally thought that's where she was going to go, and then she didn't, and then I was sad.
Could you imagine just, I'm just going to go sing with Winona Judd. I'm just going to go sing with Kix Brooks. I'm going to sing with Kimberly Williams Paisley.
I couldn't imagine that because I can't sing with anyone because I can't sing.
She can.
I know she can. I'm jealous.
I just really like learning more about how these people got onto the show, and what they're doing. I cannot wrap my head around a movie made on Zoom.
No, I can't wait to find out more about that because
Right.
I don't even know how you'd begin to stage that.
Unless it's all green screen or what, but I don't know. But someone's obviously out there right now thinking about how they can make this work.
I mean, I'll watch it.
Absolutely.
I'll watch it, but I don't know
Totally.
how it's going to work.
I mean, we have feature films being made on iPhones now, so. But no, I really do like Nashville. It's really nice down there, so.
We'll need to take a trip.
Once this is all over, yes.
I don't know what else to say.
I
It's
don't
just a
either,
good-
because I feel like we had
it
a
was-
really good conversation. I don't
Right.
have a lot to wrap up because
Exactly.
we kind of told her.
Right, it was all in there.
Yeah. So, join us on Monday as we recap this week's shows,
Have a good weekend.
and we'll meet you at the pier.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's show, we invite you to go to peer54podcast.com to subscribe on your favorite platform. Don't forget to leave us a review. And you can also follow us on many social media channels. Just search for Peer 54 Podcast. Also, we are not perfect, so if there is something that we missed or messed up, just let us know by emailing us at peer54podcast@gmail.com.